and welcome back to part 16 of Bloodborne. This time we're going to get the Blood Rock and deal with the Mergo's wet nurse at the top of Mergo's loft here. And yeah, this is the part I've been looking forward to reaching, because as you can see by the blood echoes retrieved that I died a shit ton here. I mean a shit ton. This is like, right, this bit here is a recording from my third attempt, but there's going to be a point where I reach the next section and I just stop the recording there and save it and then start a new recording, just so then if I die again I don't have to re-record this bit that I'm doing here that you're seeing now, because this section is hell. I hate it. It's 4 winter lanterns. You've got one here, and then there's 2 on the other side of this, and then there's the last one blocking off the quiet bow on your blood rock. And I made that look easy. What you didn't see was about 30 odd attempts where that didn't happen, where I shot the timing that you have to get for these shots are extremely precise. I mean ridiculously precise. And if you're a second too short or too late, you will be grabbed, and the grab mixed with frenzy will kill you regardless. Which is why I'm using sedatives and seriously taking my time through this not to die. Because it's literally, the timing for it is that you need to shoot so the bullet hits them just as the giant tentacle arms go to move in. Because if you do it whilst the arms are out, it will ignore it, and if you do it too late, well, it's already grabbed you. And that's what I mean. It's fucking hell to do. This room is sort of like your break room, because none of these spiders are major threats. None of them will kill you, and I just sprint straight through. If you pull the lever, you don't actually have to deal with those first 3 winter lanterns anymore. You can go open the door and Mikalashes and go through the other way. I didn't know that at the time, so I end up making this inadvertently harder on myself. But after you drop the brain, you need to drop the brain of Mensis to get the blood rock, and so this is what this does. But as I said, I didn't know, so I died to the next winter lantern a crap ton of times. And those crap ton of times you're not going to see. Because in a minute you're going to see a very sharp cut. There it is. 36 deaths. Oh god, I counted them. 36 deaths I edited out. Fuck. But yeah, that section's hell. I hate it. Because of the positioning of that winter lantern there. The positioning gets me killed more often than not. Then when you finally get over here, it's getting massacred by mistiming the grab, which you're going to see me not bother going for the grab. I'm just going to kill it. Because I just stopped trying. But if you can kill it, the chest it's guarding is the quiet bell, which is great for if you're playing with mates, because you can heal your buddies then. But that's not the main reward we're really here for. What we're really here for, as we carefully manoeuvre over this, is that blood rock, which, as said, we're going for next. And this area bit here, you'd be dead already if you haven't got rid of the brain of Mensis. It builds up your frenzy so ridiculously fast it will splatten you, because you're too close to it. But there's a lot of great one wisdoms floating around, which makes sense. If you're getting mad frenzy's linked to insights. Anyone else who's died here is going to have madman's knowledge and wisdoms and things like that on them, which is probably why that's a madman's knowledge, and the ones closer to where the brain was great ones. Here's the other side of the iron door from that Mikalash that you can open. So I open it from this side because I always open it from this side, but it just didn't clock for me that you could just go to the other side and get it easy. But let's get that blood rock. Go to like the little chamber where the brain of Mensis was held and just drop off. Don't go full down the middle though, the middle's death. But if you just go down the side here, there's your blood rock, and now you can level up any of your weapons to level 10. And instead of going through the normal way, I just reawaken. Back in the Hunter's Dream, I think I'm going to actually use said blood rock. After using... God. Look how much insight we have now. 79. It's going to be 80 when we use this. And the King Cold Blood on top. So yeah, when I said we have 99 insight by the end of the game, I wasn't joking. I mean, not the end of the main game. I know I have it by the end of the DLC, but... yeah, you just If you know what you're doing, you don't have to worry about it, and that's me leveling up to level 10. So now it's maxed out. And that's me contemplating the cursed gems. I'm not a big fan of the cursed gems, but I sometimes use them just for the extra power. Now, check out the insight shop. And the normal shop, the normal routine. Oh yeah, I buy some sedatives because I burnt for a lot for that. And then I head myself back to Mikolash's area so we can head on properly. Now we've got our blood rock, we don't have to do that. But damn, I hate that section. It's the only part of the game I legitimately despise. Just because of how many times you will just die from being a split second off. And it will happen. You won't get that in your first go. But now we have Shadows of Yharnam, which if you're that has normal enemies, which if you're familiar with FromSoft's games, FromSoft has a tendency to make bosses normal enemies later on. But this game also does vice versa as well. In the Chalice dungeon, sometimes they'll just make a normal enemy a boss. Which, not that it bothers me too much, because it's just free blood echoes for a lot of them. Down here's a dead end, don't know why I came down here. Up here are pigs, but their poison breath is no longer a poison breath, it's a frenzy breath, so be cautious. So I'm going to sneak up and ask for a visceral this pig, and I'm not even going to bother with the other two, I don't think. But this is where one of the cooler moments of the game can kick in. If you lure the pigs over to this huge group of Yharnam shadows, like in the background, they will start fighting each other because they're considered completely different mobs. So they will just start brawling. And it's nice to watch. I like seeing that in games, so you can have enemies fight each other. It's quite satisfying to sit back and watch. I don't think I do it in this recording. But at the same time, there's a part of me that sort of hopes I do. Also, if you're playing online, there'll be a sinister bell ringer over here. So keep in mind that. I don't even mean playing online with buddies. In nightmare areas, there'll be sinister bell ringers regardless of whether you're playing with buds or not. So you can get invaded here. So there's your sinister bell ringing woman's location if you don't want to be invaded. Up here, there's going to be the group of the Yharnam Shadows, yes, the Yharnam Shadows, and I'm not going to bother with the people, I don't think. I think I'm trying to lure one of them over at a time. Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of the mage first, as I nearly die to the sword ones. And I get followed by one, yay! Because the mage ones are the ones that usually get me killed. It's because the other ones, at least you can parry the other ones. The mage ones, they just sit there and fuck you up with magic. These guys just will use either or. These ones, so at least you have a chance of getting to use the sword. But they're dead anyway, so not that it matters. I think I activate the lift. Because I'm looking at the recording and because I split it into chunks, the recording manually, so then the boss is a separate chunk, so I know when the boss comes up in the recording. And the end of this chunk is still a tad away. Yeah, here's your Yosefka blood vial. If you've already used your old one, here's where you can get a new one. I already have one, you can't hold two unfortunately, but there's one if you need it. Yeah, I think I'm going to go activate the lift. Or fail to activate the lift. And it's quite weird to think there's actually not much left of the game. As in, after the wet nurse dies, the boss we're about to fight, we've only got the final boss. That's it. And then we've got the DLC, and the DLC is only 5 parts. So there really isn't much left. And I've already started recording what I'm going to do next, but I'll save that for when we actually get to it. Right, and now here's our boss. No, it's not actually Mergo there sitting crying. I wish it was. But no, we instead got a relatively easy boss. Well, it's not as easy as Mikolash, but in terms of actual difficulty compared to some of the other things you've fought in the game up until this point. Wet Nurse is kind of easy. Your next real challenge is German, if you choose to fight him, because keep in mind the final boss, German's optional. Because he'll offer to sacrifice yourself or refuse, and if you refuse is when you fight him. I refuse because I want to fight every single boss, and because it gets to the best ending, especially if you have the 3 umbilical cords, which if also, for the whole game I've had for most of the game I've had 2 umbilical cords. If you want to know where the 3rd one is, this boss drops it. So if you're going for the true ending and you're wondering where that last umbilical cord is, here it is. Kill the Wet Nurse, it's yours. And right, strategies. Pay attention and then move, because it has a lot of delay before it does its attacks. You'll still get caught occasionally, but you can see that it's not doing much damage. It has a lot of delay between its attacks, so use it to your advantage. Every so often it will try and teleport away, and it will try and do a diving attack. The diving attack is probably the most damaging one, but you can see it coming a mile off. Yeah, it doesn't do much damage, and you can dodge straight through it if you know how to time them. The only damage that will usually catch you off is the one where it just sort of does a safety slash, as I like to call it. That. Where it just tries to catch you up, because that, yeah, it does next to no damage, but because it comes out quicker, you're more likely to get caught by it and hit by it. And that's literally the only real threat this boss can throw at you. It is partially weak to electric, but it's only partially weak, so I don't know how worth it is to use the electric. It's up to you. It won't make much of a difference, this boss will still die quick. And we're just mowing it down and it can't do much. I like its battle theme though. It's literally Mergo's music box, or it's called Mergo's Lullaby in the soundtrack. But it's literally just a music box, and it's just a nice little melody. It plays again in the credits, so it's just nice to listen to. Easy there. Oi. Stop being so predictable, Wet Nurse, Christ's sake. And it's dead now. The Wet Nurse is not a hard boss, because it's very slow and doesn't dish out much damage. Thanks, bus. Christ. Hopefully that bus isn't too loud. Oh, when it dies it takes a little while because Mergo has to stop breathing. Mergo has to die, so you have to give it a while, and then eventually it'll come up saying Nightmare Slain instead of Prey Slaughtered, to let you know that that was a big important fight, and that you've essentially completed the main quest of the game. And there's your 3rd umbilical cord. Literally. I mean, yeah, that's the end of the last main area of Bloodborne. Now when you return to the Hunter's Dream, the workshop will be on fire. The fire is purely cosmetic, it can't hurt you. And when you go to the doll, she will tell you to go to the back gate and meet German at the Great Tree, which is where your final boss will take place. So we do our final bit of leveling. We are slightly over leveled now, but only by much. Keep in mind I said around level 80 should be when you take them on. And yeah, now we're just going to do last second upgrades and buying, and next part we'll fight German and the Moon Presence, because we've got all 3 of the umbilical cords. There is also a 4th one, but I didn't see the point in getting it because we don't need to. If you want to know where that 4th one is, if you save the saucy woman, shall we say, the woman that's clearly a prostitute, and take her to Erden Chapel, once the Wet Nurse dies, go to the Erden Chapel and go back the way you came, as if you're heading backwards towards Father Gascoigne, and you will find her just sitting on a chair crying with a weird kin baby thing, one of the ones we saw floating around the upper cathedral ward. Kill it, you'll get your get an extra 3rd umbilical cord, so you can get the one there, which is handy if you accidentally killed Josefka early or were struggling to get to the workshop. Anyway, I need to wrap this up. Next time on Bloodborne, we take on the final boss, German, and the Moon Presence. But until then, you take care now.